Standards are the most important tool in planning. Without standards, we would just be planning based on what we think the students should know about a subject. Standards give us a clear picture of what students will be expected to do in order to graduate and let us build a curriculum to bring them to that goal. This video is going to deal primarily with the elementary level, but it can be used for any grade level. In this video, we're going to start with finding the documents. We're going to pare down the Common Core document. We're going to plot our year, and we're going to come up with some sample items to test that our students understand what they're supposed to be learning based on the Common Core standards. Let's begin by finding our documents. Point your browser to www.corestandards.org. Here's what the Common Core State Standard website looks like today. It might look different when you go there, but the bar at the top should be the same. We want to start with read the standards. And we go here, it tells us a little bit how the standards were created, why we have them, but what we want is we want to look at the standards. Let's start with English Language Arts and the literary standards. We're going to download the standards in PDF format by clicking Download the Standards. This is a very large document. It's 66 pages long, and it contains the standards for English Language Arts and literacy for preschool all the way through 12th grade. At some point, you should read the information that's in here. It tells you a little bit about how to use the Common Core standards and how they were created and how to best read this document. For today's training, I'm going to go ahead and show you how to read the document, and we're going to start on page 9, Standards for English Language Arts and Literacy for K through 5. The literacy section of the Common Core standards is broken up into 4 parts for K through 5. They are reading, writing, speaking, and language. And before I show you what those look like in the document, it's important to go ahead and prep you for what it's going to look like because the document has a lot of things going on. This is the reading section. The reading section is divided into 3 sections: RL, which means reading literature, RI, and RF. And you'll see in the Common Core document little boxes with RL, RI, and RF inside. In the Common Core document, we'll scroll down just a page and we'll begin with reading. These are the College and Career Readiness Anchor Standards: key ideas, craft and structure, integration of knowledge and ideas, and range of reading level and level of text complexity. These are standards for all the grade levels, kindergarten through 12th grade. As we scroll down another page, you'll notice that we have the RL at the top. This lets us know we're in reading standards for literature. And we'll see those same key ideas, craft and structure, integration of knowledge and ideas, and range of reading. We also see it's divided by grades: kindergartners, grade 1 students, grade 2 students, and so on. As we scroll down, we see grade 3 and 4 and 5. Now here we have reading and informational text. And we see the grade 1 student has 3 objectives for key ideas and details. They have 3 objectives for craft and structure, and 3 objectives for integration of knowledge and ideas. So when you're reading this document, it's important to make sure you're looking at the column for your grade level. And as we scroll down a little bit more, we'll end up finally at Reading Standards Foundational Skills, which these are different objectives, such as print concepts, phonological awareness, and they're a little more broad. And then it's broken down into phonics and word recognition and fluency. And then we have our grades 3, 4, and 5. Next we're at writing, which is denoted by a W in the Common Core document. Here we have our anchor standards for writing across K through 12: text type, production and distribution, research to build and present, and a range of writing. As we scroll down in the document, we see what a grade 1 student, a grade 2 student, and a kindergartner is required to do for these topics. Each standard for writing has 10 objectives, or 10 learning goals, numbered 1, 2, 3 through 10. Our next standard is speaking and listening, denoted by SL. For speaking and listening, we're given 2 standards: comprehension and collaboration, and presentation of knowledge and ideas. So for our different grade levels, these are broken down into 6 learning goals for kindergarten, grade 1, and grade 2. And finally, we're at our standards for language, such as conventions of standard English, knowledge of language, vocabulary acquisition and use. And standards for language is denoted with an L. You'll see that this one makes up a lot because there's lots of little things that your students need to do. For example, grade 1 needs to be able to demonstrate command of the conventions of standard English grammar and usage when writing or speaking, which means they need to do A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, and J. These are all the objectives. So the learning goals demonstrate conventions of standard English grammar, and the objectives, the small parts that make that up, are listed below. So they need to be able to print all the upper and lowercase letters, as well as use frequently occurring prepositions, such as during, beyond, and toward. In grade 2, they're asked to do a little bit more, such as use reflexive pronouns, or produce, expand, and rearrange complete, simple, and compound sentences. And as we go down a little bit more, we see that there's more standards, such as knowledge of language, vocabulary acquisition and use, and then we go to our grades 3, 4, and 5. After language, we're presented with a text illustrating the complexity, quality, and range of student reading for K through 5. This is an example of what type of literature and what type of informational texts your students should be able to read at the different grade levels, kindergarten through 5th grade. We scroll down, and this is just a sample of text that they should be reading. You should be reading many more books than this. Here's also just an example of how to stay on topic across grade levels. For example, maybe you're teaching the human body, and it tells you what books you could read from kindergarten all the way to 5th grade to build upon the human body. Now that brings us to the end of the document. So the 66-page document actually is only concerned with pages 9 through 33 for kindergarten through 5th grade. Now that you've downloaded the Common Core Standards document, it's time for an action step. We want to parse that document down into a document that you can keep at your desk or keep posted near you that's easy to reference. So here's your action step. Collaborate and create a standards document. When I say create a standards document, I mean separate out just your grade level learning goals and maybe the ones that have objectives too. So what I've done is I've used Google Drive and I've created several boxes that say learning goal and objective. My next step now is to fill these in. One way to fill these in is to use the standards document and go to my strand. This is not a learning goal, reading standards for literature. That's not something a child needs to be able to do. The learning goal would be something such as ask and answer questions about key details in a text. I select my learning goal, I highlight it and copy it, and then I paste it into my document. But the formatting is weird whenever I copy and paste from a PDF. My alternative is to go back to corestandards.org, click on Read the Standards, and I'm going to open up the English Language Arts Standards. And over here on the side, I have RL, RI, RF, W, SNL, and L. So I'm going to click on Reading Literature, and I'm going to choose my grade, grade 1. And over here, I have all the learning goals listed out. So I click on it, and my learning goal, ask and answer questions about key ideas or details in a text. Retell stories including key details, demonstrate understanding of their central message or lesson. So I copy, I bring it to my document, and I hit Control V, and it pastes, and the formatting's much better. Now I've also left an area for objectives. If I open up Reading Foundational Skills and click on Grade 1, I come up with several learning objectives, such as demonstrate understanding of the organization and basic features of print. Below that, I have an objective, which has the same number, but it has an A at the end, which means this is an objective or one thing that a child should do to be able to master the learning goal. Phonological awareness has 4 objectives. Here I've created my standards document for grade 1 English Language Arts. I have my learning goal, RF 1.1, and then what that learning goal is, and then I also have the objective that goes with it. I then have RF 1.2, and it's 4 objectives that go along with it. I go down a little bit farther, I have RF 1.3 and the mini objectives that go along with it. And then finally I have a learning goal W 1.1, and it doesn't have any objectives with it. So for your standards document, go through and get all the learning goals and any objectives they might have into a document. That way, whenever you're pulling up the Common Core document, you're not looking at grades, kindergarten, 4th grade, 5th grade. You're only looking at the ones that pertain to you. And then also put them on individual boxes. That way you can cut them out or you can copy paste them and create a calendar for the year. You can group these learning goals together into units and plan out your curriculum. Even if your state has already created this document for you, it's still helpful for you to go ahead and do this yourself. Sit down with the other teachers that teach the same grade level you do and create this document. While you're creating these learning goals, I'm sure you'll come up with ideas or ways that you've taught these ideas before in the past. This is a great way to plan out your calendar with others.